it sounds like if you tie the idea that you mentioned earlier about not keeping score, that the intention then to be the craftsman Michael Jordan is not to keep score, but to be the best you can be and find flow, to find that being focused and being present and being in the path, because that's the exciting part. You mentioned in your book that really it's a shame not to be engaged. You mentioned the Gallup polls, which have shown for the last 20 years that disengagement in the employee United States workforce is around two-thirds and has been for quite a long time. And yet most of our lives is done at work, right? More than half of our waking lives are occurring at work, and yet we're not showing up. And so you mentioned repeatedly, I love this idea of don't settle, don't settle, don't settle.
Mm.
And if you didn't hear it that third time, I'm gonna say it again. I think you said it before, right? Don't settle. Um, why is it that people, if this issue has been around for so long, where
Mm.
are we failing as leaders that's leaving people not stepping up? Not that they have to be the A player, but to be their best and be the best B player, because there is that huge gap. And it may
Yeah.
not be worth it for everyone to be the A player, but to at least show up and be part of the game.
Where I would start with that, John, is back to that question of engagement. And for our friends listening today, I'm going to just speak directly to you guys, is your engagement is your responsibility. You own it. There are factors outside of your control that impact your engagement, your inspiration. So if you work for an inspiring company or an inspiring boss, you do inspiring work, that's great. However, if you work for a not inspiring company, a not inspiring boss, then you're still responsible for finding ways to be inspired yourself. So fundamentally, the engagement, I think there's a poll that John's referring to is by Gallup. And annually it comes out and it's a global poll and it's about it's a pulse check of the global workforce. And what we know is that engagement and focus equal creativity and flow we talked about earlier, which equals impact, because the things that we create in the world, the value we create in the world, is made by humans. Now we use tools like computers and manufacturing plants, et cetera, but they're humans that drive these inventions. So what they're trying to do is take a pulse check on how much of yourself are you bringing to work every day. And this poll has been checking for, I don't know, 25 years. And what they forget is to ask a different set of questions is, where do you find hope? Now, if hope is in management, um, mantras, corporate objectives, your paycheck, those are all great things. But when the road gets steep, rocky, challenging, muddy, when there's a pandemic, there's things that happen in life that make that where it's super frail and fragile. And then as a result, we as humans go into this choice of we can go to apathy, we can go to numbness, we just numb out. We can go to thank God it's Friday. We can go to white knuckling our way. We can go to disengagement. We can go to bitterness. And what I advocate for is it's not okay, because those are human conditions. And that we as humans, that's not what we're here to do. What we're here to do is to live wholeheartedly from a place of hope and love and grace and peace and mercy and patience. Well, that's on us. We have to find that gear in us. And that has to be rooted in something that's greater than just our experience of what work's about. And then work in exchange becomes the place we invest all of our talents. Now, it should be mutually beneficial. Our employers, our companies, they should be contributing to us, and we should be contributing to them. And it doesn't always work like that. So then we can then cross our arms and check out and say, I'm not going to play their game. And then we both lose. So the company loses, the productivity of our workforce loses, and we lose as humans. It impacts us relationally, it impacts our health negatively. Or we can say, I'm going to go a different way. And I'm going to find a way to learn to lead myself in such a way that I'm going to find a reason to get out of bed today and tomorrow and the next day that's not dependent on my circumstances. It's not dependent on my paycheck. It's not dependent on the accolades I do or do not receive. And then we become unstoppable, because then wherever we work, we're investing our whole selves. And that is just the compound effect of that is unstoppable. So it isn't about building a global machine of the workforce. It's about us enhancing the experience of our lives and what we create with the energy of our lives in this arena called work.